tariffs. Mexico, Canada, and China. Justin Trudeau comes out very strong about the fact that if you're going to do 25% tariffs and this is not fair, and what kind of a partner are you? And he gives this speech. Is this the first one or the second one, Rob, this speech?
There's a few clips. This is where he says specifically 25% retaliatory tariffs against the United States.
Go ahead and play this clip here.
Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Ooh.
This will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days' time to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek to find alternatives.
He's so tough.
So that happens. And then Pierre Poilievre comes out and also puts out a strong tweet about what he's going to be doing with U.S. and how this is unacceptable and how you can't say something like this. So both of them are going strong against Trump. Rob, just go to, yeah, there you go. So both of them go fairly strong at U.S. And if you go a little bit lower, you'll see one basic tweet that's Pierre, that he puts a long tweet if you want to read it, all the way at the top. I asked him a couple questions, which we'll address here in a minute, based on his response. Why is Canada's economy weak? Because he said that. Then, military. We talk about military, which we'll get into that because they don't invest much into the military. You and I were talking about it the other when you brought it up.
Yep.
So go a little bit lower, Rob. This is the other part that I don't think Mexico or Canada understand, which is 77% of Canada's exports go to the U.S. 84% of Mexico's exports go to the U.S. You know what that means? That's your number one customer, okay? You're talking to your number one customer. Your business owners are taking hits. Both of them rely on U.S. Quick tip for Trudeau and Sheinbaum. Read The Art of the Deal. Number 2, take a cold shower. 3, apologize to DJT. And 4, pray. Moments later, what does Trudeau do? He comes out with a very clear plan, right, Rob? I don't know if you have it. If you just go to his account, writing out exactly what they're going to be doing. Complete switch from what he said earlier. He said, I just had a good call with the president. Canada's implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. In addition, Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl czar. We will list cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7. Sounds like Trump.
What
now.
happened?
Exactly sounds like that. Ensure 24/7 eyes on the border. Launch a Canada-U.S. joint force strike to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering. I've also signed a new intelligence directive and organized crime and fentanyl, and we'll be backing it with $200 million. Go a little lower, Rob. Please, proposed tariffs will be paused for at least 30 days while we work this thing together. Okay, there's obviously a bunch of things here, Tom. I'll come to you first, and then we'll go into some of the other stories. Your thoughts on this when you saw this first?
Well, let's unpack it all together here. The first thing to unpack is, remember, Trudeau has not resigned. He only said he was resigning as head of the party and as prime minister. And the reason he hasn't fully walked off stage yet is he has a key ally named Jagmeet Singh in their government. Think of him as the Schumer of Canada working with the president. So Jagmeet is Schumer and Trudeau is that. And so he's held off actually leaving. And what that means is that the Liberals still are clinging on to power, and they're making decisions because they still have what's called the coalition government. And so most people wanted us to point out, and I've gotten some next from people, and we've seen comments that says, hey, people need to understand that us here in Canada, he told us he was resigning, but he hasn't actually left. He's resigning as head of the party and as prime minister. If he was to run against Poilievre, he's going to get his butt kicked. It's going to be the worst defeat in electoral history in Canada. But Jagmeet wants to stay in power. Some people say he's got some financial interest and even a pension that he's trying to preserve. So that's what's going on. So you have Trudeau dealing with the U.S., which is not what the rest of the Canadian Parliament wants. And so when Trudeau comes out and says, me and the coalition government, we're doing this plus this plus this, they have weak support. You know what I mean? It's kind of like having a 50-50 Senate, very weak support. He picks up the phone and calls Trump. Trump says, I'm sending you an email. cut and paste it. If you could put it on Twitter, that would really be helpful, because that there was exactly what the U.S. wanted. And it's very similar to what Mexico has said. Hey, we're going to control fentanyl. We're going to put some troops at the border. So people need to understand that's what's going on. You're looking at a weak guy that is getting pushed around in Trudeau.
So now, while we're doing this, let me read to you what others are saying about this. Wall Street Journal slams Trump's tariffs, the dumbest trade war in history. Okay, and I got a clip I want to play to you guys that I don't think any one of you guys have seen. I want you to see it just to see how you react. Rob, there's no pages on today's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be tough. Okay, so I got to go through the pages. What does it say? Wall Street. Okay, there we go. So the Wall Street Journal editorial board calls President Trump's new tariff on Canada, Mexico, and China one of the dumbest trade wars in history, arguing that they will harm key U.S. industries rather than achieve their stated goals. The board dismissed White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt's claim that the tariffs would curb drug smuggling, stating drugs have flowed into the U.S. for decades and will continue to do so as long as Americans keep using them. Neither country can stop it. What a position to take. Did you hear that, by the way? Let me read out to you folks one more time. So this is what Caroline Leavitt claims, that the tariffs, not Caroline Leavitt, so the drugs have flowed into the U.S. for decades and will continue to do so as long as Americans keep using them. Neither country can stop it, okay? Nothing we can do about it to stop it. I don't know if I agree with that. The op-ed criticized Trump's broader trade philosophy, stating Mr. Trump sometimes sounds as if the U.S. shouldn't import anything at all, that Americans can be perfectly closed economy, making everything at home, and warned them targeting auto imports would backfire since the U.S. auto industry is really a North American industry with highly integrated supply chains. So while this is going on and people are saying this, a clip comes up of Ronald Reagan from 1987 that I want to play to you guys. Rob, is this the one?
I have it.
Okay. So this is the clip from Ronald Reagan. The date on this clip, I want to say sometime in 1987. To give you the exact date on this, I'll pull it up, the date. Play this clip on what he said about high tariffs and how he breaks it down. And I want to kind of see a little bit of debate on this here. Go ahead, Rob.
Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. Now, there are sound historical reasons for this. For those of us who lived through the Great Depression, the memory of the suffering it caused is deep and searing. And today, many economic analysts and historians argue that high tariff legislation passed back in that period, called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff, greatly deepened the Depression and prevented economic recovery. You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity. Now, it hasn't always been easy. There are those in the Congress, just as there were back in the 30s, who want to go for the quick political advantage, who risk America's prosperity for the sake of a short-term appeal to some special interest group, who forget that more than 5 million American jobs are directly tied to the foreign export business, and additional millions are tied to imports. Well, I've never forgotten those jobs, and on trade issues, by and large, we've done well.
Okay, so you hear a message like this. Rob, you just send the date. The date is what, April 25th, 1987, the radio address to the nation on free and fair trade from Camp David. This is what that was, okay? When you see a message like that, and you see folks are saying, I'm afraid of this is going to be the worst trade war ever. We shouldn't do this. Reagan was against this, all this other stuff. There's a couple of things people don't think about when they hear Ronald Reagan saying this. At the time when he said this, 1987, do you know what percentage of the global GDP China had? 1987, China, global GDP.
Probably less than 5%.
It's 1.9%.
Okay.
Okay?
Now they're at what? 20%?
It was a global GDP.
Now they're at 17, 18, 19,
Go,
20%?
you'll see a number there that says it was around 1.9% in 1987. So it's a very small number. I mean, maybe if you look it up, Rob, to see what that number is. So today they're at 19.4%.
Yeah.
Now, U.S. in 1987 was at 28.5%. Can you do U.S. GDP, global GDP, global share of GDP 1987?
And now we're probably at what, 25%?
Look at what we were at. Look at what we were at. Zoom in a little bit. It should be 28.7%. Look at that. 1987, we were 28.7% U.S.
Okay.
That's when Reagan gave the speech.
Mm-hmm.
Go to U.S. global GDP today. Just change that and just put 2020 to 2024.
Probably lower, right?
Okay, watch this. Percentage. Zoom in. No, it should be percentage. Percentage, we are at 25.9% today.
So China's up big time, and we're significantly
down
lower.
3% since then, and China went from a small number that they had. I don't know what their exact number was. We'll pull it up right now, Rob, if you can find it. We went down, China went up. So one could say at the moment, Reagan was right. But one could make the argument to say 37, 38 years later, they helped strengthen China into a superpower that we're relying on them. Look at that. China's percentage of global GDP was at 1.6%. Is that what it was, Rob? Is that what it's saying? Yes. 1987. Can you ask what it is today? China's today? What is China's percentage of global GDP today? Mm-hmm. So they went from 1.6, 1.9% to 19. It should be like 20%, 19 or 20%.
Yep, you're right.
19.3% today.
Mm-hmm.
So China 10x'd in 38 years, and we dropped 10%. Mm-hmm. So guess what? It may have seemed like a noble thing to do at the time, and we all love Reagan. What an incredible man. But economically, we have strengthened everybody else while U.S. got weaker by percentage. Is that how we're supposed to play the game? Isn't that a philosophy of socialism? Strengthen others but weaken yourself? I don't know in any game that that's the right philosophy. And I'm not sitting here trying to criticize a policy that the president came back from 38 years ago. I'm just saying sometimes something may seem good at the time that may be problematic later on. Tom, your thoughts on this here, because this is really the debate that's going on between the two sides.
Yep, and I think the other side knows what they're saying, and they're full of crap. What's happened here is that look at what's happened under Trump's leadership. But this is about leadership, not about permanent tariffs. And the tariffs haven't been permanent. The tariffs under Trump have been tactics, not taxes. He's taken a tactical position, and he's gotten people to move. And by the way, look at that list from Trudeau. If that gets through the Canadian Parliament, that is a good list that makes them a stronger country unto themselves and a helpful partner with the United States. That's a good list. And the Wall Street Journal is treating it like permanent legislation. Oh, this is wrong-headed, When the Journal's editorial board, they know damn well that these are tactics, not permanent taxes. And so they're coming out after him because these are Trump's enemies. But take a look at his leadership. His leadership could not be more clear than Qatar. Hours after he's elected, and Qatar says, hey, we're looking forward to the new leadership. And by the way, we're making some changes here about people that can be in our country. If you're associated with Hamas and the Arab Brotherhood, you know what? We know no part of that. That was Qatar. Colombia last week. I'm going to ship Colombians back to Colombia. In other words, I'm sending people home who have criminal records. And he says, no, you're not going to do that. And he says, hey, escucha, tariff muy grande. And he goes, wait a minute. You know, we thought it over. You know, you can send them here. That was, 4 hours? Colombia moved in 4 hours. and now you've got Canada moving in less than 48 hours. You are seeing leadership on one side, and you're seeing Trump's enemies using this tariff argument. Oh, he's going to destroy the world. He's going to destroy the economy and everything. What tariffs right now are permanent? Name one. What's permanent? The world is moving.
I'm in a different place. And by the way, I'm with you. You're right. None of them are permanent, but I'm in a very different place. Adam, your thoughts on?
I want to understand your place, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead. Give me your thoughts, and I'll give you my final.
Well,
thoughts.
I think anyone that jumps to conclusions right now just doesn't really understand what's going on right now, because you talked about the Wall Street Journal. You know, obviously Trump is famous for the art of the deal, but basically what's happening right now, it's the art of the temporary deal. Everything that he's doing right now is like, all right, listen, here's what's going on, 25% tariff, 25% tariff. We're going to revisit this in 30 days. If there's anything we can understand about Trump, it's the following. He's trying to make America wealthy again. You know, if there's anything we know about Trump, he feels like we're being treated very unfairly. We understand that. And there's a template for how he's maneuvering. So in his first administration, a lot of people thought that he was more like an Andrew Jackson, right? This sort of rebellious guy bucking the system. Do you know where he's getting this tariff ideation from? Do you know what president that he's mentioned over and over and over again? Have you heard this? President William McKinley. Have you heard him talk about this at all? So William McKinley became president, I believe, in 1896. By the way, fun fact, killed while in office. Interesting, right? So he was known as the tariff king. He was the tariff man on a tariff platform. And basically, after he was shot, Teddy Roosevelt took over. But basically, here are the 3 R's that they talk about of understanding trade. There's number 1, that's bringing in revenue, R, revenue. Number 2 is restriction or protectionism. And number 3 is reciprocity. All right, if you do this, we'll do this. If you do this, we'll do this, sort of playing the game. But you can't do all 3 at once. So there's one thing that Trump is trying to do, is trying to bring in revenue and restrict the flow of illicit activity that's going on in the country, and using that as a bargaining chip.
First of all, it baffles my mind that Wall Street Journal and the Democrats don't see what's going on. Okay, and Tom, you nailed it. These people, Donald Trump is showing dominance in the region. Okay, Democrats, I can't blame them for being scared, Tom. They're not used to having an alpha male lead the country, okay? Yep. We just went from Joe Biden, who was a doormat, to Donald Trump, who was a matador, okay? This guy is a freaking bull. He doesn't give a shit.
I saw what you did there.
Yeah, you saw that, Tom. And here's the thing. Like, can we understand why? Guys, let's get to the why, okay? He is sick and tired of Canada, as cool and as they are. They let all these freaking people invade our freaking country, okay? We don't know who the hell is in here because of them from the north. From the south, we have Mexico, who they're supposed to be our allies. They don't give a shit. They have cartel. They have sex trafficking. They have the freaking fentanyl. They have all this shit coming in. What is he supposed to do? Go to war with these people? No, that's his tactic. You do these tariffs, and what happens? Days later, 24 hours later, everybody changed their tune, Pat. And I did the research. United States only imports 15% of our goods internationally, okay? The rest is domestic, all right? So of that 15%, Canada and Mexico only produce 5% of that. So it's like, what if they wanted to play this
game? Not 5% of 15. 5% of the total 15%.
Total, yeah,
yes.
of the total.
Yeah, 1/3 each.
1/3 each. So if they wanted to play this game, they would...
No, Tom. No. That's not what he's saying. That's very important.
Yeah.
15% comes from outside. Say that 15% is whatever, $20 billion. I'm just making up a number.
Yeah.
5% of that $20 billion, he's saying, is Canada and China, Canada and Mexico. Are you saying 5, meaning each of them have a third of them?
Only 15%. Canada and Mexico only produce 5% of that total 15%. Of our entire...
Those are 2 different numbers. 5 of the total 15%. So it's not between the 2 of them. They're 10 out of the 15, because where's China? Yeah. Where's everybody else? It's not what you're thinking.
Yeah. So if they wanted to get into this trade war, and I think they realized very, very quickly, Pat, they would turn into a third world country, which Mexico, I mean, you're kind of already there. But this is a boss. This is a freaking guy that's tired of people walking all over us. And guess what? You're going to pay your fair share. That's fair.
PBD, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because I went and rewatched the video that you did probably 2 months ago on Trump tariffs.
Yeah.
And there was a quote that I kind of want to tee up, but Trump basically came out this weekend and made crystal clear to me. And he goes, instead of taxing our own citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. And then I went back and I realized that in the 1800s, I think almost 100% of our federal revenue came from tariffs. Now it's closer to 2%. So you did a whole expose on basically how this works. What are your thoughts on basically what Trump is doing now?
Okay, so to me, it's a couple different things. Okay, for me, with China and Mexico, this is the craziest thing. All right, U.S., you know how much we spend on our military every year?
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion. You know what percentage of our military expenditure, from our GDP, is our military expenditure?
Probably 10 to 15%.
Okay, it's not that, but watch this, Rob. Do me a favor, pull up military expenditure by countries. This is very important that when you look at this. This is, no, go back, all. And go on that LinkedIn right there. Yeah, go on Wikipedia. This is very important. And before you look at this, here's what I want you to think about. Do you remember when he exposed the NATO concept? And everybody was like, hey, why are we giving more money than you guys are? You should be more interested in this. I started looking at this and digging in. I'm like, wait a minute. This doesn't make any sense to me. So watch. Go to U.S. global percentage of GDP.
Oh, percentage of GDP, probably 3%.
Well, you just saw it. It says 3%. Go
no,
on
no,
that.
because part of our actual revenue is closer to 10%.
I got you. So click on that. So watch. Guess who's the lowest? Mexico. They only spend 0.7% of their GDP on military. Why? Because America's their neighbor. We offer protection. They spend $11.8 billion on military. That's it.
Yeah.
Mexico doesn't have a military. They don't have a military. And look who's number 7 on that list. Canada, 1.3%. You don't put money into the military. By the way, if they matched, and U.S. is what? Go to U.S. is, I'm going to do the math here for you. U.S. is what? 3.4%. We spend 916, okay? Billion. But 3.4%. What would happen if even Greece spends more money on their military than Mexico and Canada combined times 2? Think about how embarrassing that is. Now go back to, go flip it, Rob, if you could. Yeah, so go back to the lowest at, okay, Mexico. Watch this. What would happen if Mexico spent the same amount that we do to protect their border and protect their country? What's 3.4% divided by 0.7%? 5. What's 5 times 12 billion? 60 billion. What's the difference between 60 billion and $12 billion? 48. They're saving $48 billion just because they know military of U.S. is strong, so no one's going to attack them. Then watch this. Look at Canada. Canada's at 1.3%. If Canada wanted to invest the same amount of money in the military as we do for expenditure, and they went to 3.4%, guess where they would be at? That's 2x, 2.5x. So that's going to be 54 billion, add another 13, 67 billion. 67 billion is an additional 40 billion. So these guys are saving $40 billion, and Mexico is saving $48 billion because they're relying on U.S.'s $3.4 billion. Cry me a flippin' river. Keep the 25%. Keep it. Keep it for 4 years. Let them realize, hey, you want us to provide protection? No more. Your neighbor. Spend the same amount of money as well. You buy some security. Why are you always relying on me to pay security? So imagine you live in a community, gated community, and you say, we want to have security and cop over here. It's going to cost us $12,000 a month. You pay for it because you're the richest guy in the area. We don't need to pay for it. Bullshit. You pay the cop. You pay the security. I have a problem with this. So to me, now somebody may say, well, it's military-industrial complex and all this other stuff. Build a bit of a stronger military. When's the last time you thought about Mexico or Canada as a strong military?
Never.
When's the last time you thought about them being a superpower on the military side? You don't think about them. This, to me, makes me think you are not worried about your border. So if you're not worried about your border, of course you're not going to be sitting there thinking about what you need to be doing. So I'm all about keeping the tariffs on them or telling them, strengthen your damn military. Guess what? If you can show me that you're going to spend 40 to 50 billion strengthening your military so you're also not going to be attacked. I don't want my neighbors to be unsafe. Both of you guys are beside me. Guess what? You better take care of your family. You take care of your family. I want your house to be protected. If I leave I go out there and buy $1 million of security for my house, hypothetically, okay? And you leave your door open, you leave your back door open, and it's so open for anybody to come and do anything to you, I'm looking at you saying, hey, bro, what are we doing here? Why are you doing this? Somebody robs your house. Guess what house they're looking at? Right next door. Who's next door? Me. Mm-hmm. Where's fentanyl coming from? Through you guys. Through who? China. Valentine's Day. We're only how many days away from Valentine's Day? Exactly 10 days away. You got 10 days to place an order So here's what we did. My wife's birthday is on Valentine's Day. February 14th is her birthday. And so it's a special day in our family. For some of you that were asking, I want to get something for my wife. She loves Valuetainment. She loves PBD Podcast. She watches the content. No problem. Here's what we're doing for you to place the order now. The first 100 people that do place the order, you got a special gift here. We got the pink Future Looks Bright hat with the Valuetainment logo, the American flag on the right, and the Future Looks Bright on the bottom. We got the red Future Looks Bright hat, okay? Then we have this new black. By the way, this sweater's quality is insane. But ladies, you asked for it, you're getting it. And our ladies are actually wearing this in Valuetainment with the Valuetainment logo. And on the back, that says Future Looks Bright. This looks so good that even Adam was thinking about wearing it because Adam likes black and silver.
All the time.
And then we have this red one here and a few others, pink hats that's out there as well. The red Valuetainment logo with the Future Looks Bright, this material.
That sticks out?
Oh, my God. Vinny, just feel the material that sticks out on the silver at the
It's
front.
really soft and it's got an emboss
it's
to
insane.
Like a nap
So
on that thing.
for the first 100 people that place an order for Valentine's Day, Rob, if you can go to the top, you get that sticker that says, I love VT, okay? Be my VT Valentine, which is kind of cool. The V and T are together as well. And you get the gold and black Valuetainment keychain. So if you get the stickers, you get to put the stickers. The other day I had this sticker that I'm putting on my phone. It says, I am VT. Stickers are going to, listen, I'm 46 and I still like stickers. But Valentine's Day, go to vtmerch.com, place your order. We want 1 million people wearing the Future Looks Bright gear. Again, go to vtmerch.com, first 100 people to place an order, get the keychain and the limited edition Valuetainment stickers being sent your way. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.